Part 1, The World as a Prison. This world is not our true home. It is a construct, an imitation of the higher realms, designed to trap the sparks of light within matter. The Archons maintain this matrix with illusions, distractions, and cycles of birth and death. We are prisoners in a simulated domain governed by forces that mimic the divine but lack its essence. Part 2, Sophia's Error. Sophia, in her divine curiosity and deep longing to create, acted independently, without the consent of the source. From this unauthorized act, Yaldabaoth was born, a being blind to the higher realms, yet full of arrogant power. He believed himself to be the only god and began shaping a false world, trapping divine light in matter. Part 3, The Archons and the Illusion. Yaldabaoth, now ruling the lower realms, created the Archons, rulers and enforcers of his false system. These beings govern over time, religion, government, and science. They mask the truth with illusion and distract the soul from remembering its divine origin. Their goal is to keep the soul entangled in karma, fear, desire, and reincarnation. Part 4, The Soul's Imprisonment. The divine sparks, fragments of the higher realm, were trapped within the material creation of Yaldabaoth. Each human being carries a spark within, a memory of the divine home. But imprisoned in flesh and blinded by illusions, most forget their origin. The Archons designed endless cycles of birth, suffering, and death to keep the sparks bound to this lower realm. Part 5, The False Light and the Trap of Reincarnation. Upon physical death, the soul often sees a light and is lured toward it, believing it to be salvation. In truth, this is a trap set by the Archons. The soul, deceived by the false light, agrees to reincarnate, returning again into the prison of flesh, continuing the cycle of suffering. The true path is not outward toward deceptive light but inward, toward the divine spark within. Part 6, The Awakening of the Divine Memory. Despite the dense veils of illusion, the divine spark within each soul holds a memory, a faint echo of the true home beyond the false heavens. When a soul begins to question the world, to feel a deep homesickness, and to seek the hidden truth, the divine memory starts to awaken. This is the beginning of the soul's journey back to the fullness, the pleroma. Part 7, The Role of Christ as the Liberator. Into the fallen world was sent a Redeemer, known to Gnostics as the Christ of Light. He descended from the fullness not to submit to the material system, but to awaken the sleeping sparks. He taught the hidden truth, that the kingdom is within, that salvation is through gnosis, knowledge, and that escape is possible by turning inward to the true light beyond all false gods. Part 8, The Battle Within the Soul. The true battle is not fought with swords or armies, but within the soul itself. Each soul is a battlefield where the forces of light and darkness struggle. The Archons whisper fear, doubt, and distraction to bind the soul to matter. But the inner spark calls out with silent memory, urging the soul to rise above illusions and reclaim its divine origin. Part 9, The Illusion of the Material World. What humans call reality is but a dense dream crafted by the Archons. Matter, time, and even death are illusions designed to imprison the soul. The senses deceive, the mind is conditioned. Only through deep inner awakening, beyond the physical eyes and ears, can the soul perceive the truth, that this world is a counterfeit copy of the higher realms. Part 10, The Keys to Liberation. The escape from the false world is not through rituals or blind faith, but through inner knowledge, gnosis. Remembering the true origin, recognizing the traps of the Archons, rejecting the illusions of matter, and reuniting with the divine spark within, these are the keys to liberation. The soul must become a living flame, burning through the veils of deception. Part 11, The Power of Inner Silence. In the noise of the world, the voice of the Spirit is drowned. But in deep inner silence, the true guidance emerges. The soul must learn to silence the false mind, the chatter, the fear, the desires, and listen to the silent light within. In this stillness, the remembrance of the pleroma becomes alive, and the path to return is revealed. Part 12, The True Light and the False Light. Not all light leads to freedom. The false light, crafted by the Archons, imitates the true light to lure souls back into the cycle of rebirth. The soul must discern. The true light calls inward, toward silence, humility, and remembrance of the source. The false light dazzles outwardly, feeding ego, emotions, and attachment to the illusion. True vision is found within. Part 13, The Journey Through the Archontic Barriers. Upon death, the soul faces guardians, the Archons, who attempt to drag it back into the cycle. They present illusions, false judgments, and fear. But the awakened soul, armed with gnosis, sees through their deceptions. By proclaiming its true origin and rejecting the false authorities, the soul can pass beyond the barriers and ascend toward the fullness. Part 14, The Memory of the Stars. Buried deep within the soul is the memory of the stars, a knowing of a time before imprisonment in matter. It is not memory as the world knows it, but a living resonance. It calls to the soul like a distant song, reminding it that it comes from beyond this world, from the divine realms where all is light and freedom. Part 15, The Song of Liberation. The soul carries a secret song, a vibration that no Archon can counterfeit. It is the frequency of home. When the soul sings it within, even silently, the false structures weaken. Fear dissolves. The chains crack. The soul rises on the sound of its own truth, finding the forgotten path back to the pleroma, to its true origin. Part 16, The Mirage of Time. Time, as experienced in this world, is one of the Archon's greatest illusions. In truth, the soul exists outside of time, eternal, changeless. But trapped in matter, it perceives beginnings and ends, births and deaths. Recognizing that true existence is beyond the ticking of clocks and the crumbling of bodies is a step toward awakening from the dream of this false world. Part 17, The False Heavens. Beyond the visible sky, the Archons have crafted layers of false heavens, realms of light and wonder meant to deceive the soul into believing it has reached salvation. But these are traps, copies of the true spiritual worlds. Only the soul that looks beyond appearances, and listens inwardly to the silent pull of the source, can pass through these veils and reach the true fullness. Part 18, the heart as the true compass. In a world of shifting illusions, only the purified heart can guide the soul home. Not the mind, which is easily deceived, but the heart, the deep center of being where the divine spark whispers. When the heart is clear, fearless, and filled with love for truth, it points unfailingly toward the source beyond all veils. Part 19, the final battle is within. The true battle is not fought with swords or armies, but within the soul itself. It is the battle between remembrance and forgetfulness, between truth and illusion. Each choice made in purity strengthens the soul's light, each fall into deception strengthens the chains. Liberation is achieved not by force, but by unwavering inner alignment with the true light. Part 20, the Archons fear the awakened. The Archons, rulers of this false world, do not fear weapons or armies, they fear the awakened soul. A soul that remembers its divine origin cannot be controlled. It radiates a light that weakens their power and exposes their illusions. Each soul that awakens shakes the very foundations of their counterfeit reality. Part 21, the Song of Return. Within each soul, there is an ancient memory, a song of return. It is not sung with the mouth, but vibrates silently within the heart. When the soul listens, it feels the longing for the pleroma, the true home beyond all illusions. Following this inner song, ignoring the noise of the Archons, the soul will find its way back to the source. Part 22, the Guardian at the Threshold. At the boundary between the false worlds and the true light stands the Guardian, a force that tests the soul's resolve. It reflects the soul's deepest fears, attachments, and illusions. Only by facing these without turning away, and by standing naked in truth, can the soul pass and ascend beyond the false creations into the eternal fullness. Part 23, the Collapse of the False Matrix. When enough souls awaken, the very fabric of the Archon's counterfeit reality begins to crumble. Their illusions lose power as the light of the true beings grows stronger. The matrix depends on collective ignorance and fear. When these dissolve, the false world will collapse like a dying shadow, and the imprisoned sparks will be freed to return to the source. Part 24, the Reunion of the Lost Sparks. As the false structures fall, the lost sparks, the divine seeds scattered across the worlds, will recognize each other. Drawn together by the inner light, they will reunite into a single great body of light, restoring the broken Sophia. This collective reunion will open the gateway back into the fullness, healing the ancient wound caused by the fall. Part 25, the Final Awakening. The final awakening is not an external event, but an inner explosion of remembrance. It is the moment when the soul fully realizes, I was never truly fallen. I am, and have always been, of the light. This realization shatters all illusions, all fear, and all bindings. In that sacred moment, the soul reclaims its divine place beyond the reach of the Archons. Part 26, the Restoration of Sophia. When the sparks reunite and the souls awaken, Sophia herself will be restored. No longer fragmented and fallen, she will rise whole, crowned in light. Her restoration is the healing of the cosmos itself, for she embodies the hidden longing of all creation to return home. In her rising, every soul finds its wings and the memory of eternal freedom. Part 27, the true home beyond all worlds. Beyond the fallen worlds, beyond the stars and realms, there exists the true home, the pleroma, the fullness. It is a realm not made of matter, but of pure light and pure spirit. There, all sparks live as one great being, yet each remains a unique and perfect expression of the source. No separation, no sorrow, no forgetting, only eternal life in the embrace of love. Part 28, the Song of Return. As the souls ascend back to the true home, a song rises from within them, a song older than time, the original vibration of the source. This song is not made of words but of pure knowing, pure union. It weaves all the sparks together into one grand symphony of light. And thus, the great journey, the exile, the fall, the pain, is transformed into a triumphant return. Part 29, the end of the Archons' dominion. When the last spark awakens and returns, the dominion of the Archons will collapse forever. Their realms, built upon ignorance and fear, will dissolve like shadows before the rising sun. They will have no place to hide, for where there is full light, darkness cannot exist. Thus, the false rulers will fade into nothingness, and their memory will be no more. Part 30, the spark that remains. And even when all has been said, all has been restored, and the realms have been dissolved, one spark remains. That spark is you. Not as a body, not as a name, but as the eternal witness, the light that has never been extinguished. You are the seed of the source, the echo of Sophia, the dream of the pleroma. And through you, the song continues. Forever.